There we go.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Costume Co. Back for another episode. This is actually Game of Queens, though. This is sort of our inaugural show. And I have the lovely Tatiana is joining me. I'm not wearing my crown. Here's my crown.
Hello, sexy people.
Yeah, so anyway, it's been like such an amazing weekend. Tatiana, how was your weekend?
Full of work. And work and work. Lots of restaurant duties to do.
Yeah, so you're looking beautiful. Hold on, see if everybody's here yet. Getting some. I'm not. The show's not showing yet. You guys in the chat, let me know if you can see us because I don't have it showing, but maybe I don't know. It might just be me. Hold on a second. Let me go back to here. So, anyways, to get started, tell me what you thought about the season premiere.
Ah, so good. Yes. Oh my God, everything. Reunions everywhere.
Oh, we're showing. Okay. Hi, everybody in the chat. Sorry. Okay. I usually have someone helping me with the tech, and then, you know, like usual, I'm the worst person in tech. So this is sort of funny because I think I've mentioned this to you before, Tatiana, that I went to theater school for technical theater, and yet I'm the most not technical person alive, except when it maybe comes to making clothes. I can do okay there. But when it comes to any kind of gadgetry and all that have you. So what this is, we've already done sort of one episode. We did one episode a couple of weeks ago when some of the new costumes dropped for season 8. And so today we actually got to see it in the show. So that's kind of exciting, right?
Yeah, it is. I honestly, when yesterday I had work and like I had like an 8-hour shift and I was so afraid that I was gonna miss it. I was like about to freaking cry because I got out at 8 and I thought that was when the show was gonna start. So between getting from my job to my work, I would have missed easily 15 to 30 minutes, and I didn't want to miss anything. But luckily, it started at 9, so I literally, as soon as at 8 o'clock, he's like, "Can I leave?" Sure. Bye.
Yeah, I know. Well, you were like squealing kind of online. I saw you. You were like, "Oh, it's about to start." You were kind of doing a countdown and everything.
I was so excited.
Yeah. So for anybody who's new to the channel or hasn't, been here before, so what this is this is going to be sort of like a costume roundup, and we're going to be doing it for the next 6 weeks after the episode airs. So we'll do it on Monday nights. At the moment, we're doing it at 5 p.m. And we do have a third person who, unfortunately, Aaron, he couldn't be here tonight. So hopefully we'll be able to have him next time. But he is our compadre. He's one of our pals. And we love dishing about costumes, the three of us. And actually, it's funny, Tatiana, because recently we did the video, the top 20 best female costumes from Game of Thrones thus far.
Yeah.
And someone was like, "Who's this Tatiana person?" So I had to sort of give them a little bit of a quick little review about you.
Lols. I'm still pretty unknown, but
yeah.
If I get famed worldwide for talking about costumes, why not? Right?
Yeah. Well, a lot of people on my channel know who you are. So why don't you just introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are then?
Well, for those who are not in the know, my name is Tatiana Melendez. I'm 26 years old. I'm from Puerto Rico, and I love everything to do with arts and theater. I'm an actress. I'm a costume designer. I'm a singer. I dance a wee bit, and basically, I just love anything to do with theater, film, or TV.
Yep. And Aaron, who's not here, he's also a designer and has worked in some big shows. But let's say hi to everybody. So Vanessa's here. I think you're still here, Vanessa. I saw you earlier. Priscilla, she's new. Hi, Priscilla.
Hello, Priscilla.
Asun's here. She said she just was watching the show today. She didn't get to see it last night. So I asked her if she was having a hard time avoiding spoilers. Hi, Sabina. Hi, Carol. She says she can see us both. Hi, Lauren. She goes, "It's me, the Doran Martell girl."
Lol.
She's a fan of Doran. We love Doran too, right? Like we loved his costumes.
I like his costumes. he could have been utilized better in the show, but
Absolutely.
I love his costume.
Yeah, we loved his costumes. We actually, I mean, he was on our list, but it just, when we whittled it down, we just couldn't, there wasn't room for him. But we did love his costumes. Hi, Jasmine. Yeah, Bubba Husky's here. Hi, Bubba.
Hi, Bubba.
It's nice to see everybody. Thanks so much, you guys, for coming in. So it's a bit earlier in the day, so we might not get as many people as usual. But anyway, that's okay. So you were excited to see the show. What were, like, okay, so tell me, I know there were lots of great reunions and stuff, but costume-wise, was there anything you were like, wow, I love that?
Well, last live stream, I made no secret that I love Dany's jacket, like her white and red coat. I loved. I still love. It's still lovely. And now that I got a better look at Cersei's dress, it really grew on me. It really did. And I have always loved Arya's outfit ever since it was introduced, because she just looks so good in it, and I still want that freaking cape.
Yeah, the cape is actually this. Okay, let me put this picture up for everybody to see. I just grabbed it today off of. Can you see that, Tatiana?
Yeah.
Isn't that such a wonderful moment? I was. Yeah. What's sort of funny for me though, I saw this picture. I'm like, oh, what a great perspective of her sleeves. Like as soon as I saw that, I thought, oh,
the detached sleeves.
The detached sleeves, yeah, and they're not even like laced up all the way. So, you know, we talked about this, that she sort of has a bit of a capsule wardrobe. It's a really great way to make the budget go a little farther. So rather than give her entirely new costumes, they can just maybe switch out the sleeves or switch out the jerkin. And this is nice too, because we get a nice back view of her cape, because I don't think we have many back views of it, eh?
I still want it so much.
Yeah, and I kept thinking, oh, it must just be so nice to snuggle into John's fur like that.
Yeah, I would not mind snuggling into John's fur anytime.
Now, I have something I was going to tell everybody. I found this today, and I'm so glad I did. You know, there had been this whole thing about the IKEA furs being used, the IKEA rugs being used, in Game of Thrones, and it all stemmed from this sort of Michelle Clapton did this presentation at a university, and then people got wind of it, and I had stated a while back, I said, well, you know, it's not actually John's cape that is an IKEA rug. It's actually, like, I know that she had stated that it was some of the you know, the what do you call them, the Night's Watch, and then also she had mentioned that Sam's cape was a rug, and it was from season 1, that really curly one. So anyway, I finally got vindication here. Here she says it in a recent interview. Where does she say it here? It says, okay, so this was an interview. I believe it might have been Vanity Fair, but I might be wrong. I just grabbed it. This person says, it's been reported that Jon Snow's coat was made from IKEA rugs. Are there other character wardrobe staples this season that originated from a surprising place or places viewers might shop? If so, what? And she says, so Michelle Clapton corrects her, says it was not Jon Snow's, it was Samwell's, and a few other of the Night's Watch that wore them. We did it on the pilot when the budget and time were limited. It made sense. They continued to be used throughout the series. We aged the wool rugs and added heavy leather straps that crossed at the chest and buckled behind the waist to stabilize. They worked well. So I was really happy to see that, because I've been like, there were all these reports that kept coming up about Jon Snow and I'm like, that is not an IKEA rug. That's like, that's an authentic wolf pelt, like not a wolf pelt, but that's an authentic pelt, like a fur pelt. If it's faux fur, I would be shocked, because it looks very real. So what do you, Jose is here. Hello, Jose. He says, hi, Heidi and Tatiana. Glad I made it in time. I'm currently studying creative writing in the States, but I love learning about the process behind costume design. That's so lovely.
Awesome. Maybe one day you'll write for a show like Game of Thrones one day.
Exactly. Priscilla has to go to bed. She says, I will be going to bed too, because the day was long and full of terrors. My day was kind of full of terrors. I actually tweeted that earlier, that I was feeling very salty. So I stayed up, like watched Game of Thrones, stayed up super late. Then then I got woken up throughout the night by my son's coughing, then my cat who would not leave me alone. And then finally my husband had to get up for work at like 5:30. So I had like no sleep and I was so tired. So I got up and I was just kind of on the wrong side of the bed.
Yeah. Also, Bubba Husky, I think, has to go to bed too.
Who does?
Yeah. Bubba Husky has to go to bed too.
Yeah, so some of our viewers are in Europe. So anyone who's new just coming into the chat, it's really nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. So I'm Heidi, I'm Costume Co, and we're here with the lovely Tatiana. You have to say hi, Tatiana, so you come on the camera.
Hi.
Okay, so anyway, I've got a few. Should we look at some of the pictures that I've got?
Of course.
So just to reiterate, you know, there's nothing new we haven't really seen because most of it had been showed in, you know, in some of the trailers and the teasers, and then in some of the press stills that were released already. So not a lot of surprises. So, you know, we'll just kind of go through them though. So, but I managed to grab these ones from the show from last night. So let's just have a look at them. Hold on. So I showed you this one already. Here, let me just see what I have here for you to see. Okay. Oh, I grabbed this one. I thought this was good. By the way, I was going to mention that Asun said that Arya's cape, it's kind of like a mirror image on the other side. And I think that's true, right? It's just sort of the flip of it.
Yeah.
Hey, pretty dark. She's saying, hey, queens. We sure are. Oh, yeah. We sure are the queens.
Forever and always.
Yep. So let me, all right. So what I like about this one is you can really see the back of her, and you know, they've kind of repeated what they did last year, right?
Yeah, they did. But now the fabric is different. It's more like a gray instead of like the brownish color that she had last year.
Yeah. Season. It is more gray. So you know, that could be what, a tie to John?
Probably. I would not be surprised.
And also just it's not as much of a contrast, like it sort of just blends in a little bit more nice. Oh, before we go on to this, I have to just show everybody. Tatiana, did you have your wine glass? I don't have any wine in it.
Yeah.
But Tatiana and I got glasses.
I forgot about it.
Here, I'll show. Do you have yours there? She's going to get it. So here I got a drink. I got one that says I drink and I know things.
Sorry, and I completely forgot all about it.
It might be a little bit more like I drink and I'm a know-it-all about things, because it sometimes can be a bit of a know-it-all, which isn't necessarily a good thing. So I ordered another one, but unfortunately it was terrible. I had to ask if I could send it back, and then he was like, it's going to be too much to send back because of shipping. So he just gave me a bit of a little bit of money back. So I'm going to keep it in my collection.
I honestly completely and utterly forgot I even had this thing.
Do you have it?
I hadn't taken it out of packaging. Yeah, I have it. It's here.
Oh, beautiful. So what's yours say?
All men must die, but we are not men.
Yeah. So ours kind of looks similar. We can't do a two-screen comparison, but they are kind of. People can't hear. I'll do you now. They look similar. Yeah, it's a good size cup, eh? Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, it's good. I don't have wine in it yet. It's still a bit early for me.
Yeah, and I completely and utterly forgot about it. So it has time to like get some water.
It was funny because yesterday I have a couple of, you know, YouTube friends that I hang out with, and one of them said, you know, sometimes when you're doing YouTube, you have to just, you know, do some other things. Don't be doing YouTube all the time. Maybe, how do you guys unwind? And I said, I unwind with 2 bottles of wine, which, you know, I was just like, I'm just joking. It's just really 1 bottle. But no, actually, I'm not a chronic alcoholic. I know I sometimes indicate that I am, but I'm not. Yeah. Okay. So guys, sorry, we'll go back to some of the pictures. And so that's what we were saying about that. And so, yeah, you get sort of a good view of the back. I always love it when we get pictures of the back. So that's next here. So this one, this is, oh, she's so cute, eh? Bella Ramsay.
Yeah.
So a little Lady Mormont.
Yeah.
Little Bear. So I think this is the same one as last season. It's just she does have a bit of a heavier cloak though. She's kind of She can kick some butt, I think.
Oh, she always does. It's the Mormont way. That's why we all love her and want her to live.
Now, some people were saying they were a little bit disappointed there wasn't a reunion between her and Jorah. Oops.
There were so many reunions. This episode, they can't all happen in one episode. I mean, at least save one for like the second episode. Like, I mean, yeah, they had to like cram a lot in a 60-minute format.
Oh, it was
freaking ridiculous because why the hell is it an hour and a half?
It wasn't even 60 minutes, I think. I think it was like 56 or something minutes.
I think it was like an hour and 6 minutes.
Oh, was it? Okay.
If I'm not.
Yeah, Hindsight is here. Hi, Hindsight. She says she's all grown up. Now, I don't know if any of you guys watch The Worst Witch. She's on that show too. She's really great. So
Priscilla, I love Priscilla. She's pissed because her crush now has a crush. Oh, that's cute.
I know. Is that true? I didn't even know that. I didn't know she had a crush on John.
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because if she does, she doesn't let it on. She's good at the lip poker face, which she needs to.
Yeah, she has really grown up quite a bit, even because it's been like a year and a half. Yeah,
it's been a year and a half, and
I
sorely missed this. Like, I can understand people like being, oh, it was okay for me, but it's like, people, it's the first episode. This is not Star Wars where you start with a battle. You have to work up for the battle. You have to set down like the rules and the thing that's going to happen. You have to set up the characters and where they're going to be at what time.
Yeah, they're laying the groundwork.
Yeah, and again, there are a lot of reunions. Some of these people have not seen each other in almost a decade, and it was totally missed. Like the Arya John reunion was like one of the most anticipated things of the new season. They needed to see those two bond again.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now, here's Ned Umber. I think it's the same actor as last season.
Yeah, I think so too.
And when I watched that, I didn't know that was him. It wasn't until after I realized it was him, like skewered up on the wall. By the way, everyone here, you've seen the show, right? Don't watch this if you haven't seen it. So he has like those little cross chains. That's very distinctive of the Umbers. Yeah. And I know I was pretty upset by that.
That scene was effed up. Yeah. So much. I mean, it's not the first time we see dead children, but damn. And when what was it? Who was it? Tormund? I think it was Tormund.
Tormund.
When Barry was talking.
Yeah.
Tormund. One of those two, or one of the people there, they were talking, and behind him, the boy just opened his eyes or blue eyes. I was like, oh schnitzel! I literally freaked out. Like, oh hell no!
Now,
it was something out of a horror movie.
Let me just come back to you for a minute. So speaking of that, everyone's been talking about, of course, when they set him on fire, and there's it looked like the Targaryen Sigil, right? The spirals. Yeah. So there's been, that's all gone back, and I've talked about that actually in my symbolism video. That symbol has been showed throughout the series, and how I sort of started looking at it because Dani actually had it on one of her dresses. Do you remember the one with I think we have it we don't have it on our top 20.
The blue leather one. Yeah.
The blue leather one, the laser cut leather one. Yeah. So it has the spirals. Now, I don't know where Michelle found it. I think she actually found it. I don't think she had it made. I could be wrong. But I'm always like, ever since I saw her in that dress, I was like, oh, that's like the Children of the Forest. That's like the White Walkers formations. That's and I talked about actually the energies of the spiral. It's an ancient symbol, and how if it goes one way, it's feminine. And if it goes another way, it's masculine. So I kind of was saying, hey, it's kind of like the Targaryen sigil. And so as soon as I saw that on fire, I'm like, oh my God, that's the Targaryen sigil. So then, of course, you know, all the tin hat foil people are out saying, oh, she's a, you know, White Walker or something. She's connected to that. What do you think of that?
I'm sorry, what? Sorry, I was reading out
Oh,
the
so the spiral on fire looks like the Targaryen sigil, right? With the 8 arms. So
yeah.
So the tinfoil hat theories out today on Twitter and everywhere was, oh, Dany must be a White Walker, or she's connected.
Oh yeah, they're saying that she's gonna be the what was it, the Night
King? Yeah.
The Night
So I don't know what you guys think in the chat about that. Priscilla says, I expect her to die in Sansa's place because they changed her appearance from the books and it must be on purpose. Well, that's not necessarily true. So Michelle Clapton, like what had happened was Michelle has, you know, she sort of looked to the books at the very beginning, and I know she had a few chats with George, and then she basically kind of like was like, I'm going to do my own thing. Like, so she did take some inspiration from the book, but she's pretty much abandoned the books. She's created her own universe. And I was going to say one other thing today. So I have a video out called Game of Thrones Costumes Inspired by Alexander Mcqueen. And Tatiana, you saw that, right?
Yeah. Of course.
And we've talked a little bit. So go ahead. Yeah. We've talked a little bit about, you know, like I've talked a lot about Alexander Mcqueen, especially the, you know, the funnel dress. Yeah. That Marjorie wears. So anyway, I had a girl today on that make a comment that, you know, Michelle she's really only said once that she, you know, she based that funnel dress upon Bjork's bell dress that was designed by Alexander Mcqueen. She's never said it, you know, since then. So this girl kind of called me out. I don't know if she thought it was like clickbait me saying that. It was like my analysis, but here's a really great review, an interview she said just in the last few days. So do you guys mind if I read this? She says, a number of designers say that they have been inspired by the designs on the show. Rick Owens, Helmut Lang, Alberta Ferretti, for example. Some don't say, but I can see inspiration sometimes. So Michelle's talked about that. Like she'll see collections. She'll be like, obviously that's a, you know, a tribute to my work. And she even, I think one time said she called somebody up and asked if she could borrow one of the outfits, and they said no, which was like, what? They must have not known who they were talking to. Because Madonna called up Michelle Clapton's team at one point asking if she could borrow Dany's Dothraki dress, I think, or maybe one of her dresses. And her Mother of Dragon dresses, and she said sure, and she lent them to her, and they sent a stylist down with it, and so she was very generous that way. So anyway, she says then, I'm influenced by them as well to be brave and to be magpie-like and steal from all around. So she admits this, she steals, which is a theater thing. We beg, borrow, steal. She says Rick Owens and Hussein Shalayan, I'm sorry if I'm saying that incorrectly, were both a great influence on the northern silhouette. And then she says John Galliano and Alexander Mcqueen, who of course were both like contemporaries, and Vivienne Westwood were also an influence due to their brilliant and brave cutting. Sometimes it's a family look or a region like the North that influences looks. Sometimes it's an individual look. I believe John Varvatos has recently brought out a GOT-inspired collection in conjunction with HBO, although I sadly wasn't directly involved. I'm flattered, she says. So what she's saying is like a two-way street. She is influenced by famous designers and inspired by them, and then in turn they are then inspired by her. So it's kind of like a nice sort of like cycle, right? So anyway, so that girl who said that about me, I unfortunately, like, you know, when it comes to costume designers, they don't speak specifically about every single costume that they make, right? Like they don't say, okay, this is how I did this one, and this is what I was inspired by, and this is how so I mean, I have to sort of fill in the blanks sometimes. Yeah. Hey, Tatiana?
Yeah, and yeah, there's like a lot of people who like don't agree that Marjorie's burrito dress was bad.
Yep.
And in some ways it had good things in it. Like, I do like the fabric, and it was experimental, it was outside of the box, and I like that. but I think it made the ultimate cardinal sin of making beautiful Marjorie look fat.
Mm-hmm.
If you see like a wide shot of her, she has no shape. It's not a bell dress. It's a literal funnel burrito dress. And for beautiful Marjorie, who has like a perfect silhouette, to just look shapeless, that was like no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I think that for me what it could have been is she could have just used aspects of it and not used the whole thing. And so
honestly, I would have been okay with it if they had just tapered the waist. They just like cinch the waist and make it an actual like hourglass instead of like whoosh. That was
yeah.
like
But did you see the original? Did you see one of the original Alexander McQueen's? That like it was just sort of like it was beautiful, like it was gorgeous. I wasn't crazy about the Belle one, but I mean, it's supposed to be was supposed to be very fantastical, right?
No,
but
it was beautiful. I've seen the original, but if you notice the original, it is not a tube. It is an actual hourglass. It's like this and like that.
Yeah, someone was saying in the chat that
structured. It's weird and structured, but it has a pleasing silhouette. This did not. It tried. God knows it tried, but it did not.
Somebody was saying that they thought they did a better job with the Sansa wedding gown, the second one. Like, did you see the picture? And it's funny because I found this other back picture of that Alexander McQueen gown, the white one that's all made out of the flowers with a big long train. And then so he kind of used that sort of similar silhouette with, you know, very cinched in waist for Sansa for her second wedding, the angel one.
Yeah.
So someone in the chat was just saying that they thought they did a better job with that. You know what though, like, and you said this and I totally agree with you on this. Like, at least it was a bold choice.
Yeah.
She went for it.
Yeah, she went for it. And it's like, that's why I'm okay with the burrito dress. I don't love it, but I'm okay with it. Whereas the Tarly female dresses I despise because not only are they not good, they are lazy. They are lazy. That was like April Ferry. She was hungover at 3 a.m. when she read the email from the producers telling her she had 3 hours to come up with the design for the Tarly women, and she just like farted something out and just like gave it to them, and they didn't have time to like make it better and just like throw it out there with couch fabric.
Yeah, you know, that might have been what had happened. We never know, right? We didn't find out. But I was going to say, so a lot of people on my when I kind of dissed those costumes, they were using a lot of book references, and I'm always like, well, you know, it's got to. I mean, the story has to make sense in the show, right? Not just. I mean, I can't be like I'm getting all the subtext from the book.
I can't with people referencing the books when talking about the show, especially in costumes, because if you read again, I have not read the books. I've seen a tremendous amount of videos talking about the books, but from what I found, like the books, they talk about a lot about lace. They have like everybody in the freaking books has lace something. Like Cersei's dresses are made of lace, and Sansa has like a lace thing here that holds the poison dart thing that kills Joffrey. It's like, people, the costumes in the book and the costumes in the show are two very different things. There's little to no lace in the show. Mm-hmm. Sansa doesn't wear the headpiece that she wears in the book for Joffrey's wedding. Instead it's a necklace that has the poison. It's like, people, if you can say, well in the books, it's like the books are one thing, the show is another. Especially at this point where he has diverged so much from like Martin's original intent.
Well, what I was gonna say about the Tarly is like, so if you actually, someone's commenting about the armor, I love the armor on the men. In fact, I liked I liked April Ferry's version of the Tarly armor. I think a bit better than I liked the armor that Clapton came up with. You know, she did that, eh? I thought that was a little bit odd. She, rather than just leave April Ferry's design, she redid them, which I thought, I was like, that's just a little bit petty, in my humble opinion. I would have let it carry on because that was one of the only things that carried on. And the other thing I was going to say is that I thought the staff at the Tarly staff were dressed really well. So I thought, well, okay, so the Tarly staff are dressed well, but yet the ladies of the house are not dressed well. Like, it just didn't, like, the staff were dressed.
Yeah. It's like, what the hell? Like, I literally had to design my own Tarly dress, my Tarly lady dress, because I just couldn't deal with what April Ferry gave us. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Why do the men look good? Why does the servants look good? And the ladies of the house look terrible.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So people are like, I mean, you know, again, it's like, I mean, and Asen's backing us up here in the chat about this. I mean, it was a full gamut, right? It was the fabric, it was the construction, and it was the design and the fit. It was like everything. It was the whole thing. I didn't like their hair either, which isn't Michelle's department. I just thought the whole thing. I mean, I feel bad for the actress who played Sam's sister because it just made her look really bad. Like, I think she's supposed to be kind of sweet and innocent and lovely, kind of like a Shireen, but I actually preferred Shireen's costumes.
Yeah, I can kind of see what she was trying to go for like the more princessy fantasy-esque with the puffy sleeves, but it just didn't work. She looked like the color what's what I'm looking for. It didn't look good on her. She looked uncomfortable in it.
Yeah.
And her hair, if she had like tendrils like around her face like most of the other women do, in Game of Thrones, she would have looked better, maybe, at least. But it's just, it's so bad.
Yeah, Jose is saying maybe they didn't use lace because of a budget issue. Maybe in season 1. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna agree with that, because the amount of money that they have spent on embroidery, I can't even imagine how much that would cost.
Dude, do you know the cost of the brocade they use on the show? That is imported from India. Yeah. That ain't sheep, baby. It ain't sheep.
Well, I know. I costed out somebody. Sorry, honey. I costed out some of the fabrics. Like, they're in the, $200 a yard range, right? So, and then, like you say, a lot of the, especially for Dorne, all that was imported from India. And then a lot of the fabric they had it made, but the embroidery, the labor that would go into the embroidery, it would take, I think I was reading Michelle Carragher, it would take her almost 2 weeks to do an outfit. So you could buy embroidered lace way cheaper than doing custom embroidery. So it was a choice. She scrapped lace. She made a decision in her brain. And I'd love to know why. Maybe she will say at some point. She has a book coming out, by the way. Tatiana, you and I have talked about this. I have it in the link. It's not available yet. It's only available for pre-order. And I have it as an affiliate link, just full disclosure there, guys. But anyways, they haven't revealed the cover yet, so I'm looking forward to it. But it appears that it's some type of coffee table type book. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be full of images. And Tatiana, you and I talked about it. I think we're going to probably get it, and then we can maybe do a review on it. I'm going to send you a copy. But I think Asen posted this in our group that also Michelle Carragher is coming out with a book. So that's very exciting. So I'm going to be spending all my YouTube money on books. So I do now. Michelle Carragher's, I don't have a link to hers. I think I will see. I think Asen posted it in our group, but there is a link to Michelle, so you can buy it at Amazon, and it's in the description below. Yeah, Asen says she's already drooling over the book, I mean, the one on character. Yeah, it's going to be incredible. So here, we'll go back to seeing. So
Yep.
do you have anything else to say about Ned Umber? I mean, you know, these are northern costumes. I was, you know, I've always been pretty happy with them. I've never really had anything
They're
bad to say about it.
practical, they're warm.
Yeah, what
And
did
he
you
looks
think?
adorable.
He does look adorable. What did you think about actually in general when they were arriving in it looked like Wintertown, King's Landing, or not King's Landing, Wintertown, and the North? What did you think of like the crowd scenes? What did you? I want to go back and look at what the people in the crowds are wearing.
One of the things I loved about this show, of this episode, was how it was so many callbacks to the first episode of season 1. Like the little boy running, trying to see the soldiers coming in. It was like Arya and Bran running to see King Robert coming in. They literally played the exact same theme when John and Danny arrived. They played the exact same theme.
Oh, I didn't even know that. That's cool.
As when King Robert arrived. The theme is called The King Arrives, which is apropos.
Yeah, and don't you think that
in so many ways?
Don't you think the casting on the little boy, he looks so much like Bran?
Yeah, a little baby Bran.
Yeah,
and also how funny it was to see like Arya, who was a little girl trying to see the soldiers arriving, and she's just like looking at him like, yeah, I was you one time as a little boy. And she saw him like.
I know. So what did you think of the crowd scene? So, because, you know, I mean, we've seen, you know, some of the folk in Winterfell, but we haven't had a lot of crowd scenes. At least I can't recall having a big crowd scene like that of the people of Winterfell.
This is the first time we ever see Winterfell on the show.
Yeah, except for the inside of a brothel. Remember?
Yeah, but
yeah, no, it's true, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're Northerners. They don't trust easily. And seeing a foreign army with a dragon queen with 2 friggin' dragons, of course they're going to be apprehensive. They're going to be fearful. And they're going to be, what the hell is that thing? And can I get away from it?
Yeah, I would have loved, you know what, I have to say, this just came to my head. I would have loved to have seen, and it could have been like an add-on piece. I just think it would have looked more dramatic if Danny had some kind of cloak hanging down, like more queenly looking, like had some kind of, like, you know how sometimes she has like a cloak that she on the one side, that's like a draping down over the horse or something. I think that would have looked kind of nice.
Yeah. Blood red,
yeah, because her coat, it is longer in the back than it is in the front, but I just think she would have looked more queenly had that happen, because she, you know, everyone's like, because when Cersei came in, she came in at a carriage, but of course she got out of the carriage and she's got that stunningly gorgeous, you know, the long sleeves, that golden cloak, remember she was wearing with the big fur stole. Oh my God, I love that so much.
Yeah, she looked gorgeous.
Hindsight says, I don't get how they could possibly have had enough food for everyone at Winterfell and 2 giant dragons. Yeah, well, the food thing is so...
That's what Sasha was arguing. It's like, okay, yeah. I planned for winter. I stored something. I stored enough food for the winter, but not with a gigantic army and 2 frigging dragons. So what am I supposed to do? That's why she said, what do dragons even eat anyway? It's like, whatever they want.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, yeah. The ice. You can feel the ice in the room between those 2.
Yeah, Jose says he thinks that Danny always wants to be ready for action. Cloaks always add a regal touch, though. Yes, exactly. That's what I was sort of thinking, like something she could just throw off if she had to, right? Yeah, no, the thing about the food, I just assumed that they would have brought their own food. That's what I had thought. I mean, the whole food thing is weird anyway, because it's like, I always think that about the Iron Islands. I mean, I guess they can fish, but you're like, yeah, like how do these people survive? I mean, we saw that one, I was watching a rewatch season 7, episode 1, when they come back to that house and they discover that the father and the daughter have died from starvation. And I'm thinking it's a little bit weird because, like, you know, in Canada, in the north where I live, it's a hunter-gatherer type diet, but it's nomadic. So, you know, you have to move around and find the animals, and that's how it sort of works. So if you don't sort of move around, then you have to be a farmer, and then, you know, unless you store everything, then I don't know how it's supposed to work. And since that loot train thing happened, so I'm not sure. The whole thing is a little bit weird. You burned all the food. The shade, the rum.
The rum. Oh, wait. That's from Pirates of the Caribbean. That's from Pirates of the Caribbean, isn't it? I feel like I hear rum. I think Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
I think Jack Sparrow.
So,
hello, Lady Laura. Hi, Lady Laura Dane.
Hi. Hi, Lady Laura Dane. Okay, so let's move on from here. So this one is, of course, what did you think of this scene? What did you think of this reunion?
So many feels. I am not afraid to say that I ship this. I ship this, and I ship this hard and true and say yes. Because, one, it proves that Arya is not a faceless man. Yeah, she's an assassin, but she's not a faceless man. She's still Arya freaking Stark, and if she wants to get a honey, she's gonna get herself a honey.
Yeah,
and, you know, again, I can understand like people wanting to be, but Arya doesn't need a man. I just want her to be her badass self. It's like, people, she can be her badass assassin self and still have a honey who can let her be who she is and make her weapons. I don't see the downgrade from that. I don't see the bad part. Seeing Arya flirt was everything. I was living for this. Ever since those two separated, I wanted a scene like this. Because even when Arya was a little girl, I remember the scene in Harrenhal where she's like sitting down, watching him work, eating an apple, and even as a little girl, she was checking him out. I was like, yeah, give me more. I know you're kids. Give it a few years. Not right now. Give it a few years, but yeah, yes. More.
Actually, here's a good picture of him here. It was funny. Oh, what was really nice actually during this scene is everything was sort of from after the little boy went up in the tree. Is everything was sort of from Arya's perspective, like, you know, her standing there watching as everyone came in. So her seeing Gendry, her seeing Jon and Dany, her seeing the Hound, and all the feelings that kind of went over, and then finally her seeing the dragons. That was an amazing scene, I found.
Yeah.
So now my only thing, I love everything that he wears, but I'm not crazy about his hair. That's just, I'm putting that out there, guys.
Yeah. Like I loved his hair in the earlier seasons.
Me too. He's really handsome. He's a really handsome guy. And you know, I know, like, we're talking, it's a fantasy world. It feels kind of out of place for me. I'm not sure with all the men with their long hair. It just sort of feels out of place for me. And I'm not sure what was behind this. Maybe he was on another show and was coming from there. So but other than that, I think his costumes are great. And last year, actually, I went on about them quite a bit. I love them.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And I do like a cape on him. He looks like if you change the hair, he almost looks like a prince.
He does, like a lord or something, right? And
like the Lord of the Stormlands, maybe.
Yeah. Now, the one thing that he doesn't have that he did have last year, he had a little bit of that mustard yellow last year. Do you remember?
Yeah,
I
like the mustard yellow.
Yeah, which is sort of a callback to his father. And this
he needs a hat. He definitely needs a hat because it goes buzz cut. My uncle is bald, and he lives in Denver, and he always needs that to wear a freaking hat because his head is full freeze if he doesn't.
Yeah, so Lady Laura Dane says, yeah, in that world, yes, he should have longer hair like his father, who was known to have had his hair in his younger days. Yeah, so even Robert, when we saw him in season 1, he had long hair even then, right? And so did Ned, and basically even Jamie had sort of longish hair. Again, I'm not super crazy that they decided to go with that shorter hair for Jamie. I mean, it does show a change in him, which I guess I could get that, but I do.
Oh, okay. Again, Nikolai Coster-Waldau, he can rock any look. He looks good in anything.
He's a bit old for me now. I went through that with Harrison Ford.
He's more than a bit old for me too.
No, I mean, but no, he's not. In real, I'm older than him, but for me now, like it's funny, when I was younger, I was a huge Harrison Ford fan, and then obviously he was in his 30s when he did Star Wars, and I think he was 40, and then he went on to do Indiana Jones, and I adored him. And then as I got older, and then I was like, I think Harrison Ford's a bit too old for me now. So I'm sort of feeling that a little bit like about him now. He's just getting a little bit. Well, the whole cast is aged, right?
Well, I mean, Nikolai is actually. I was floored when I found out he's actually 48 years old.
Yeah, he's younger than me.
What? Like I mean, to me, he looks like 40.
I don't know if I have a picture of him here.
39, but 48.
Well, the first thing my husband said last night, so I saw him on the horse, and I said, "Oh, I know that's Jamie," because I recognized his cloak. He's actually wearing Stannis's cloak for some reason. I'm not sure what that's all about. Here's a picture of him. And then as soon as he took off the cloak, my husband's like, "Whoa, he's really aged." But
oh, he's been through some stuff. He's been through a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he has been through a lot. Laura's saying, I think HF was really sexy in The Fugitive. Oh, yeah, but The Fugitive, that's like really old, right? How old is The Fugitive now? Majora says, wait, too old? Yeah, I think The Fugitive was probably maybe the 90s, and then he just started doing, I think when he came back to do the next Indiana Jones, I was like, no, he's just, I adored Harrison Ford, but it's funny, I don't really have any crush on anybody on this show. Dickon might have been the one that I was like, okay, I kind of like that guy. Have you seen The Umbrella Academy? No. He's so great in it. Oh my God, he's amazing. He's actually Australian, I think.
Oh, so you like the accent. I got it. Don't worry. I got it. I
he's really sexy. And then Nikolai is funny because when you hear him in an interview, he reminds me of Christoph Waltz. Like when the way he talks, really.
Well, he's Danish.
He's Danish, yeah. But I was like, what is it about this guy's accent? It reminds me of somebody. I'm like, oh, he sounds just like Christoph Waltz. But because when he's Jamie, of course, he's got this this British accent. Yeah. Anyway, nobody agrees with me in the chat. That's fine. You can all love him. I won't hold that against you. No, he's handsome. Don't get me wrong. I just think he's a bit older for me now. I like them a little bit younger now.
you like your men young.
I like my men young. And then okay. So let's talk about this. The Golden Company. So what did you think of these costumes?
I was a bit disappointed when they showed Harry Styles' face.
I know I've got a picture of him here. It's not very good. I know, because from behind, doesn't he look good from behind? From behind, I'm like, oh, maybe he'll look like a young Jim.
He looks sexy from behind, but
Pretty Dark's calling me the Cougar Queen.
Face.
What's that?
Heidi the Cougar Queen.
Yeah. I'm happily married, just so everybody knows. I adore my husband. He's older than me. But years ago, I got involved with a golf pro. Ooh. and I was like 30 or something. How old was I? I was like in my early 30s, and we ended up meeting, and I thought he was older and he thought I was younger, and it turned out he was like 24 or something like that, and I was like 32. And then and I ended up having this he was such a sweetheart. And then my friend who owned his hair salon, it turned out his mother was this guy's mother was his client, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to break up with this guy. This is terrible. It was like a rom-com. And I said to my friend, I'm like, I don't even understand what he sees in me. I'm like in my 30s. He's like I said to him, you can have anybody you want. Why do you want me? But he did.
He likes women like he likes his wine.
Like the older ladies.
Deep in the shirt.
Yeah, Asen's saying everyone except for the Jamie knockoff. We wanted a Jamie knockoff, or he could have been a young
Walmart Jamie. I love it. Walmart Jamie.
We got Walmart Jamie, or even a young Jorah Mormont, like just from the hair. Have you seen what he looked like when he was younger? Holy cow, was he ever sexy? Okay, so unfortunately, this is what we ended up with. Does anybody know anything about this actor, though, the one who's playing Harry Strickland? Oh, Lady Laura says, my last BF was 9 years younger than me, and I broke up with him because I thought I was so wrong. Crazy, right? I should have kept him. Yeah, it's fun to have a young man.
Well, honestly, I am surrounded by cougars. Like, my mom is like 6 years older than my stepdad, and my stepmom is like 5 years older than my dad. So.
Really?
And my sister tends to date younger men. So.
Yeah.
I am surrounded by cougars.
Yeah. That was on point, Walmart, Jamie. You guys, we have to spread that. Let's start that hashtag. That's so funny. So what do you think about the Golden Company, though? What do you think about their outfits?
Well, from what little I can see, that it's not really freaking blurry. I like the helmets.
Yeah, it'll be nice. We need a better picture. I know. I can't. Well, they're wearing some type of breastplate. I have to do a bit of research on this. Like, it looks kind of like Michelle's sort of into that animal shell type thing. It looks sort of like an animal shell to me. Asen can maybe pipe in and say what she thinks it might look like. Oh, Liz is here. Hi, Liz. Liz is here. Hi, Liz. Hi, Liz. It's all gals in here tonight.
Majora says, actually on the zoomed-in pic, there's some interesting diversity in the Golden Company uniforms, which are not uniform. Well, that would make sense. I mean, they are a mercenary army. They're not like under one banner, so to speak.
Yeah, I can definitely see. Sorry, let me go back here. I can definitely see at least. Yeah, there's several different types. So it looks like there's some lamellar, which are like those little individual plates, and then there's some hard armor, and then there's sort of like that Greek style armor, and they're holding shields. It has a bit of a, I don't know, I kind of feel like it's a bit Middle Eastern looking.
There's a guy like in the middle. You know, there's a guy in the middle that has like the little circle with the line through it.
Yeah, I know. That's interesting, isn't it? So if anybody, we've talked a lot about this. Yeah, like a turtle. Very good. Yeah, Vanessa says like a turtle. So okay, so we've talked about it being like theta or what's the other symbol we've talked about it being? I know theta was one of them. Masculine, feminine, yeah. But you know, it's on Sansa. So you see, we again back to the symbols. We saw the layout of the bodies by the White Walkers, and then we saw the symbols in the cave, and then we saw the symbol on Sansa's necklace, which, you know, some people were saying that they thought it might have been like the moon door, which I thought was kind of interesting. Someone actually said to me it could have been her virginity, because now she has one without a line in it, which I thought that was an interesting take on it. But anyways, again, it's back to that repetitive symbol, right? So it'll be interesting to see. Mark Risman is the actor that plays Harry Strickland. I think he was in another show recently, was he not? He is more handsome in pictures. Oh, okay. Majority says that's the Gaspari look.
I'm very behind on my show, so I wouldn't really know.
Yeah, so
right now I'm only seeing maybe RuPaul's Drag Race, American Gods, this, and what else? And Riverdale, I think.
Well, you and I both watch American Gods. I actually have to catch up. I have to watch Monday's episode maybe tonight.
I'm already caught up till next week, so I've already seen like next week's episode.
Okay, so I think that's a very good point. So Majora said Gaskari, which is an ancient. You guys, I haven't read the books, but my understanding is it's like an ancient civilization that fell during the Doom.
No, the Gaskari was the reigning empire before the Valyrians. The Valyrians defeated the Gaskari and destroyed them.
Okay, so I'll have to do a bit of research.
They're simply the harpy. You know the stuff of the harpy? He comes from the Targaryen Empire.
Oh, he was in the Last Kingdom, which I haven't seen, and the Man in High Castle. Okay. So anyway, so we'll have to do a little bit of looking into that, but that's a very good point, though, Tatiana, about the symbol. So, you know, because again, like you said yesterday, we saw the spiral again, and the fact that it keeps coming up in the show and in the costume. So that's sort of, okay, so let's carry on. What else have we got here? So here's Danny. Okay, so I thought this is good. This is the scene. Oh, this is such a sad scene. This scene really got me, by the way.
John Bradley did such an amazing acting job there.
Yeah, guys, this scene just totally killed me. I thought John Bradley was amazing in the show. And because, I mean, you know, even though his father was an asshole, it's still his father, right? Yeah.
And again, I mean, he was upset, but he was like trying to look at the bride, like, well, he's dead, but he never liked me, and now I can finally go back home with my brother. But no, your brother is dead. That's when he really like just lost it.
Well, because I don't think Dickon was a bad person, right? I mean, again, they changed the casting on it.
I mean, he was ignorant and a bit of a musclehead, but yeah, he was his little brother. He was okay. He was fine. He was on relatively okay terms with his brother, and now he'll never see him again.
Yeah, and Danny was a little bit. I mean, I don't know. She was kind of like, well, you know, like he didn't bend the knee. Like she was a bit like that about it, and which didn't help.
I do think, at least from what I saw, she did look a bit not remorseful, but or not guilty, but it's like sad for him. It's like, well, I did what I had to do. But I understand that this will not make you feel good. I know it's like I had to do what I had to do. Your father would not bend the knee. Your brother would not capitulate, and he stood with his father. And all's fair in love and war. Like, I am sorry. I am sorry that this had to happen, but it had to happen. At least into her mind. I don't think she was as cold. I didn't feel like she was as cold as people were making her out to be.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think Laura was saying that, you know, she could have not, you know, I think this is what was going on with Tyrion. He was trying to talk her out of it to choose the other path. And I guess she just didn't want to be seen as weak.
Yeah. I mean, she has to imbue strength. She has to promote strength and like see that she's not gonna be cowed by some lord. It's like, and she is and she does have a tendency to overuse her dragons.
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah.
So it's like bend the knee or burn.
Yeah. So
and again, Lady Laura says, I don't think Dany should have burned the Tarleys at all. She could have put them in prison. He was a lord of his house and a great general, an asshole father though.
Yeah.
But yeah, in Dragonstone, just leave him in Dragonstone. That doesn't really sound good to me.
Yeah.
I mean, he was prepared to die, and he wasn't gonna. I mean, it would have been cool if we could like take the black and go up to Castle to join the Night's Watch. But no, that didn't happen.
Now, who is it? Someone really like in this costume. So, Jorah's costume. You know, so guys, he wore this last year. It's a really solid suit of armor. It's really. I talked a lot about it last year. I had sort of, you know, in my head canon, I'm using your phrase, Tatiana, had come to the idea that he had this made in Old Town. Before someone was saying, "Rest in peace, Jorah's yellow shirt." I always love that. That's awesome, guys. How long did he have to wear that poor yellow shirt for? I mean, they probably had dozens of them.
Yeah. What? Sorry. I can't read the comments. I'm sorry.
She should have burned Randall, but imprisoned Dickon, if nothing else, for the practical question of who owns the Tarley lands now. Dickon would have made a better hostage. Yeah, I think, you know what, I honestly think that it's just Dave and Dan were trying to just maybe tie up that loose end. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. Yeah, hopefully we'll find out more about it. But anyways, you could really see Jorah. He actually, I thought he did a great job here too, Ian Glenn,
Also,
in this scene.
there's also the possibility that if like Dickon and Randall were kept alive, like the Tarly army would not be, what's the word I'm looking for? We'll keep trying to like save them and rescue them and like not follow.
Yeah, the uprise kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the Freys were smart enough to hang on to Edmure. Yeah, exactly. They hung on to Edmure. So, so guys, I think this is a new cloak he's wearing here. Like I said, it's the same armor. Like he shows up in King's Landing. I'm not crazy about this thing, but I believe this is what he wore north of the wall. So it's sort of practical, you know, it's just like you can see it's got blanket stitched leather together. Actually, it's funny because today a friend of mine, he lives up in the Northwest Territories. Actually, no, he lives in Nunavut, which is another territory in Canada. And he was showing me, he sent me some pictures like sewing together pieces of pelts, just, you know, because they actually, believe it or not, that's one of the only things, like, I mean, you can buy these in Canada, you can buy these super warm parka coats that are, you know, modern made, but they're not nearly as warm as an actual like sealskin coat or what, that type of thing. So he was sending me some stitches. So when I'm looking at Jorah's stitches here, it sort of reminds me of the way that they did it, like these little blanket stitches, the way they stitched everything together, and then they lined the whole thing with some fur. So it's, you know, it's not super attractive, but it's practical. Whereas this thing here that he's wearing, it's kind of like a little bit like an Arya Stark type cloak, chlamys, like a Greek chlamys.
Yeah.
And now the only thing is I wonder why, like, you know, last season he had these sort of bear fur sleeves. Tatiana, remember those? They were like strips of like bear fur.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he's not wearing that, because that would seem to be warmer than wearing just these leather sleeves, because leather in the cold is the worst. Yeah, the circle does draw the eye.
Maybe it's like Michelle Classman always does. She just like changes one thing from the other. Like maybe in another episode we'll see the furrier sleeves.
Yeah, because we know that these are just laced on. These are just laced on. Yeah. So I love that she does that. I think it's a really practical thing to do, to have that, because let's say you're like, well, I could make it look like it's more than one outfit by changing out the sleeves or changing out the skirts or changing the cape or the cloak. I still want to know how Jamie ended up with Stannis's cloak, though. I wonder if there's a story there. What do you think?
I think that Michelle Clapton just had to get something out of storage, and she just went looking through the costume storage for Game of Thrones, and like, oh, this is cool. This will look good with Jamie's armor, and just threw it on him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not. I mean, the only reason why I noticed it is because I'd studied Stannis's costume so extensively, but I think the average person probably wouldn't know it. Hey, you do it.
Yeah, no, I noticed too. So.
I want to say hi to You Do It. So You Do It as a fellow creator. He's like me, has a YouTube channel. He just reached 10,000 subscribers. I'm so happy for you.
Congratulations. Y'all queen.
That's awesome. And he's also a Game of Thrones fan. So that's kind of cool.
I noticed.
I think the people in the YouTube community, they sometimes are like, I'm a little bit like, I think I was saying today, I was having a bit of a Game of Thrones hangover. I think there's just been so much Game of Thrones going on the last few weeks, and just a lot of information, and then building up to that big climax of watching the season premiere and then just having it done. And I was just kind of like, ugh, like just sort of felt. Hi, Pikachu. Oh, I can't wait to see your movie.
Yeah, movie?
There's a new Pokemon movie coming out.
Oh, right. I don't want to see it. I'm sorry. I don't want to see it. It looks.
Majora's here because he says I'm a sucker for some nice brocade.
Same.
Oh,
Same.
You do. It said we had a family night time last night. We all watched it. That's really nice. I was really happy because Jack, I thought he was going to be.
Nice.
I thought Jack.
I basically ran home, like take a shower, waited for my dad to come home because it was like out buying food, and my dad literally arrived just in time. Like everybody just grabbed their to-go boxes and like, shoo!
I felt bad because the kids, like, I'm like, okay, you need to get in the shower. You need to get your homework done. You need to, you know, take your vitamins. You need to like get in your pajamas. And I'm like, and you all have to be in bed before 9 o'clock so that I can get, you know, I wanted to be situated and everything. And they were so good. They were really, really good. They, and then Jack got home in time to watch the show. Cause I thought I was going to be by myself. Cause I made a joke yesterday, like, what if something crazy happens and I have no one to throw things at, you know, like, or, you know, what if I want to take the TV and throw it at the window? Like, cause I said, if they kill off Tyrion, I'll probably do that. I'll probably throw a TV out the window. Because he's like my favorite. Actually, that's who I have a show crush on is Tyrion. I love Tyrion. He will never
love Tyrion. Although I do have a problem
for me.
I do have a problem with what they're doing with Tyrion because they are dumbing him down.
Yeah, I agree.
Why are they dumbing Tyrion down? Why is he so certain that his bewitch of a sister is going to hold her word and send the Lannister army to Winterfell? I mean, when Sansa is saying, I used to think you were the cleverest man in the world.
Yeah.
I was like, and that's also another thing because there's something that I noticed, not only here, but seeing various reviews. They are making Sansa out as smarter than she is. Because she has done a lot of stupid shit. I'm just not just saying about being coerced by the Lannisters or by Littlefinger. No, I mean she has done stupid shit.
Yeah,
like almost like last season, almost killing Arya before apparently realizing, oh wait, I have a CCTV in Bran, and he knows everything. They are like trying to like invert them at Tyrion's expense, which and like a lot of people are saying that Sansa's development it feels too rushed. It feels too rushed. I don't personally agree with that to an extent. Because, yeah, she has learned a lot from a lot of people. She has learned from Cersei. She has learned from Littlefinger. Yeah. She has even learned from Lysa.
Aeson's saying,
and she's learned from Tyrion.
Aeson's saying that we don't know what they talked, like what Tyrion and Cersei talked about behind closed doors, though. Like if they made an alliance or not. They made an agreement.
Basically. But, again, you have to be a special kind of stupid to think that Cersei freaking Lannister is going to hold her word.
Okay, yeah. Anyways, it was funny yesterday because I made a comment about, okay, so there's this crossbow that Cersei's given to Bronn to take. The whole thing is so weird to me. To assassinate Jaime. I'm like, is this a test? You know, like Jaime was his friend, and then he was like squired or what have you for Tyrion. He was his sellsword and protector kind of thing. And now she's asking him to go and assassinate them with Joffrey's crossbow, which
Tyrion used to kill Tywin.
Killed Tywin on the toilet, and then Joffrey killed Roz with it as well. And then but then someone said, well, that might be maybe Bronn will then take all the coin and just take off and go up and warn them. But I'm thinking that Jaime's arriving, he's going to tell them all, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I highly doubt that Bronn is actually going to kill.
Oh, 30 days. 30 days is here. No spoilers, buddy.
Hey, hi, Shanti. Wait, you haven't seen it yet? What the hell, man?
Oh, I did a warning at the beginning. I did a warning at the beginning. 30 days. Sorry. Okay. It's hard to do a live stream about the costumes so we don't have, there's no spoilers. Okay.
And there's so much to say.
No, but I mean but that would have been, but even if you hadn't seen this episode, I mean, we would assume that Jamie's going north and that he's going to warn them, right? Like, I don't know. I don't even think that's a spoiler, is it? Because I just assume that he's on the way to help them, and he's going to in the meantime, I'm assuming he's going to say, oh, by the way, my sister is not sending a Lannister army.
Well, yeah, Jamie's going to say that when next episode. When
30 days. Oh, 30 days and you do it. I have to show you my glass. It says I drink and I know things. And Tatiana has one too. And we think ours are the same.
All men must die, but we are not men. Yeah. I love this. Is my favorite quote from the show.
It's an awesome quote. And mine is I drink and I know it all things. I'm a know-it-all. And I know, or I know costume things, maybe. Okay, so we've got a few left to go through here. So what do we have here? We're just showing some pictures too of the cast in the show. Oh, here. Oh, this. Okay, this was my. Okay, personally, this was my favorite reunion because that's the type of thing I would do to my brother. I would punch him in the face for having left me with a psychopath, and then helped him up after. How did you feel about that scene?
What I loved about this is the acting because it was all done in silence. Mm-hmm. Like, you didn't need words. You didn't need arguments. You didn't need fights. It was just looks and actions. And I love it. Oh, by the way, thank you, 30 Days. Yeah.
The actress who's in this, she's apparently a comedian. My husband was telling me this yesterday. But she's also just had a baby. But you know what I love about her? Doesn't she have the most buttery voice? Her voice is so like it's like butter when she talks.
I feel like it's like raw. It's like dark raw.
Yeah, like dark raw. It's like it's so smooth, you know, and she's just I don't know. I just love her voice so much. Yara, I'm talking about, guys. They have the best relationships as Vanessa. Yeah. So I feel kind of like I feel kind of like I would be Yara and my brother Bill would be Theon, and I would punch him in the face. and then after that, everything would be good and we'd be fine.
I really hope your brother's not a eunuch.
No, he's not a eunuch. No. Far from it. Yeah. So anyway, they're wearing their same costumes. There's no change there. But you know, a lot of people don't like the Ironborn costumes. I actually kind of like them.
I do.
Yeah,
I do. I like the armor, and I like the coat. The coat they have over it.
The coat is really neat. And like, again, you know, I had this idea that their coats, like Michelle, she said that they're supposed to be kind of like, and it's very native to do this, First Nations, like they've taken the canvas and they've sort of soaked it in like maybe in a fish oil, which then waterproofs it, you know. And I had this idea that their cloaks are made from recycled sailcloth or something, you know, like after the sailcloth is done, they cut it up and they can make it into these cloaks. But, and I sort of thought that because years ago, my dad had this Irish sweater that an Aaron sweater that he used to wear, and it was soaked in lanolin. They used to do that, and it smelled. It kind of smelled bad, but I swear to God, one day he fell off the dock and he came out of the water and it was totally dry. Like the water just beat it off of it. So this is sort of what I think Michelle was saying about their capes that they have a bit of a boat collar, like a midi collar, if you'll notice on them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, yummy smell. So Michelle says they almost smell like they look like that, like they would smell, but she says they don't smell. And they use wax a lot too. They rub everything with wax. So that's one of the best parts of the show, is all the breakdown they do and the care that they put into the distressing of the costumes. I think it's like almost
if I made costumes, I would not be a distress artist because I feel so sorry for the clothes once they're done, and then they have to be distressed and like torn down. It's like, but it looks so pretty. No, it needs to be realistic. But it looks so pretty. Stop. It just made it like I would have to like leave the room and like not come back until it's done. Like, is it done?
Yeah.
Oh
It
my god, no.
would be hard, especially if you're making something out of like a brocade or something, and then it has to be. But like, you know, if you look closely, you'll see the hems always have like mud riding up the. Actually, a lot of historical shows, I've noticed they do that. They'll have the hems will be like full of grime, or you know, like they've been walking in the soil and it's gotten dirty. Oh, here's Barrick and Tormund here. Barrick, he's great too. Speaking of great voices, I was telling this to my husband last night. I was like, this guy, his voice is amazing. Barrick Dondarrion.
Yeah, I love him. And he was, yeah. And I love the joke. It's like, get him, he has blue eyes. I've always had blue eyes. Like,
I know. That was really funny. Yeah. Now the only thing is, I don't know what you thought about this. Let me go back to the picture. Aren't you kind of going, okay, what happened between you guys, like being on a collapsing wall to here? Wouldn't you have? I would have liked to have seen something transitioning that. That's not a costume comment, but
what transition?
You know what? At the end of season 7, they were basically on the wall was collapsing, and we didn't even know if they had survived or not.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen something to indicate. Maybe later they'll.
How did they survive?
How they survived, yeah. Oh, Asen says, and she told me they went to. Oh wait, she says yes. The breakdown is amazing. A friend worked on Les Mis, and she told me they went to a field of mud and threw all the costumes in and trampled on them for this.
God, no.
They needed hundreds of extras. That's so funny. Actually, in Battle of the Bastards, I think it was Brian Cogman or whoever the director was on that episode. They had just buckets of mud, like on set, and then they would just like he'd be like more mud, and then they would just take more and slap it at Jon Snow or whatever. And yeah, they had real mud, and they were just doing it because I've talked about there's different tools you can use to distress certain things, but they were actually just using real mud because sometimes the real thing is the best thing, right?
Yeah.
I can't really tell what's going on with Barrick. It looks to me just like they're wearing their same outfits.
They're wearing the same outfits, and I've always really liked Tormund's wildling outfit. Out of like all the wildling outfits, is probably
me too, because and we've talked about this. We're going to do costumes that don't get as much attention, they don't get the admiration. So you and I have talked about with Aaron doing a video. What were we going to call it?
The top 10 overlooked costumes.
Overlooked costumes, maybe 20. Yeah, so I think that would definitely be on it. Tormund's is great, and he's a great actor. Such a great cast.
Yeah.
It for that. I don't think I have any other.
Also, we were thinking. Oh, I was thinking of also doing another top 20 ladies costumes. So it'll be like top 40. If y'all are interested.
Yeah.
There were too many costumes.
Maybe at the end of the season we could do like of all time or something.
Like top 50.
Now of course we can't we have a little bit more time to go. Okay, so obviously Bran's wearing the same outfit from last season. What were your thoughts on Bran? I just want to know what you thought about this whole thing.
I'm happier with what he's doing now because he's not as robotic as he was last season. Last season he was like right here he at least is showing more emotion. Like he's happy to see Jon, and he's happy to like see, and he's like even being cheeky. He's like, "Oh, you're almost a man." Almost. Yeah,
I think the actor said that he was going to be a little bit more. There's going to be more life to him.
He will be more wise and less robotic.
Yeah, I think that
he was. Yeah.
So, what did you think about Jaime's face though at the very end of the episode?
Oh, when that happened, I was like, oh, you know what you did. You know what you did. I see you right there. I was crazy.
He was waiting all night. It was so funny. Yeah, people were saying that they left him out in the courtyard all night. There were all these, there's gonna be tons of memes. Oh, and speaking of memes and all that, what did you think? Like people were calling it a rom-com, like right in the middle of the episode, there was a rom-com with Jon and Dany where they went off on this flight, like they did a magic.
Oh yeah, I could show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid.
Yeah, so
we don't know how it was so windy.
Yeah, and then they're getting the side eye from the dragons, like, stop kissing
I
my
love
mom.
that. It was like no, because you can see like when he's kissing Daenerys and he looks over at Drogon and Drogon's like, you can see like, oh shit.
Yeah. Oh, Majora says that Jamie always makes the best faces. Yeah. So, like I was telling you last night, I rewatched the first episode of season 7, which is when Euron arrives in the kingdom. It was so funny. He goes, "I've got 2 good hands, baby." And then the look on Jamie's face was so awesome. Like, it was just hilarious.
Jamie is always a mood. Jamie is always.
It was like, I got 2 good hands, baby. Yeah, Euron was pretty. What did you think of Euron last night?
Huh?
What did you think of Euron Greyjoy last night?
He was an a-hole?
Were you surprised that Cersei slept with him?
At first, yes, but then I thought about it and it made sense because if she doesn't keep him, because right now she needs him. She needs his fleet and she needs the army that he brought over. And she needs his men. But she hates him. She didn't want to because I think from when she walked from the throne towards the passageway and he says, "Oh, I've given you this. I've brought you the army. I have given you prisoners. I've done this and this and this." And she's like, "Well, one, and 2, if he's not kept sufficiently happy, he's gonna rebel and take his fleet away, and then I'm fudged.
Yeah.
I'm fudged." So it's like, oh, fine, come over here. It's like it's a pity screw.
Now, some of the people were saying, just when the pictures were released, I don't know if I have this picture of Lena Headey, but some people were saying that. Sorry, let me go ahead. Some people were saying that she was drinking wine, and they were trying to figure out, well, did she lose the baby? But there was really, but she didn't. So that was sort of like a little bit odd.
It's just that people are judging Cersei drinking wine by today's standards.
No, it's because she said it last season.
Today we know that alcohol is bad for pregnancies. We know this. Back then, in the Middle Ages, not until very recently, women drank wine while they were pregnant. Why? Because the water was polluted. Wine and alcohol were their best bets. The fact that she is drinking wine does not necessarily mean that she is not pregnant or that she lost a baby. It's just something that they did.
No. I realized that, but she apparently last season she did say that she was. He was like, "Why aren't you drinking?" Like Tyrion called her on it, and then he realized that's because she was pregnant. She does abstain, but no, it totally makes sense to me that she would be drinking while she's pregnant because, like you say, but it'd be cleaner than drinking water. Majora says if she had lost the baby, she needs a new one. If she has a baby, she could always use a cover story and some paternity confusion. I was thinking that too. I was thinking if she is pregnant, her sleeping with Euron would be actually a good alibi, alibi father kind of thing, because she can't obviously say that Jamie's the father. And then if she has.
Then again, as she said, she's the queen. She can do whatever the hell she wants. If she wants to have a baby with her brother, she's gonna have a baby with her brother.
Yeah,
and
but I mean,
the world knows that. Who the hell cares? She's queen.
Yeah. So it says Majora says Tyrion noted that Cersei had reduced her wine consumption. So I don't know. So anyways, it's still very up in the air. I think if she had been pregnant, he would have known. I think Euron would have known she was pregnant.
I honestly think she is pregnant, especially after the promos pictures that obviously we see her as pregnant. But I do not think that it's gonna be born.
So anyway, they're not telling us. We're not going to get a confirmation either way about that.
Confusion.
Yeah. So let's see before. And does anybody in the comments have anything that they want to mention or us to chat about? If you do, let us know. Because unfortunately, like I said, there was like Sansa, obviously she was wearing the same outfit that I have a good picture of her.
There is a scene between Jon and Dany after Davos. What was it? Davos, Jorah, and Tyrion talk when they're talking about, oh, that your sister doesn't like me. Where
yes.
I noticed that she added like a pelt over her shoulder. Like
yeah,
Dany had like a white pelt over her shoulder.
I think is it? Let me see if this is it here. Do you see that? Is that it there?
You can kind of see it. It's like a bit thicker. It's behind her hair.
Yeah, it's kind of under her hair. It was a bit thicker than that one?
Yeah. No, it's that one, because right after that conversation, they go on the magical dragon ride.
Yeah, here's them actually here's them going on the dragons, or going up to the dragons. So you can see actually here that she's got a little bit of a little red drape. Yeah. Yeah, a red cape. And then her coat, which is actually quite long in the back, is lined with red. So you can see that little bit. So yeah. I just would have thought it would have been really cool. Oh, okay. So this is my one comment I have to make. How cold does Jon look on that dragon? I mean, they both look freezing. I mean, just as someone who lives in Canada, I'm going to say it would probably be like at least -40 up in the air on a dragon.
I mean, and if you think Jon looks, and you think Jon looks cold, yeah. Him who was born and raised and worked and lived in the North, imagine Dany.
Yeah. But his cloak isn't even completely lined in fur. Like I think Asen was pointing out that it looked like his new surcoat that he's wearing has fur underneath it. But I don't know. There's no way they would be warm enough. It's a little bit silly. 30 Days says, I want to see the rest of Tatiana's outfit. Oh, sorry, not getting back to you. I did get your message. Oh, forgot your here. Here, I'll show you Tatiana. There she is. Oh, stand up again, Tatiana. I just put it on. Oh, it's so pretty. So pretty.
Honestly, she's got a tiara. I'm honestly wearing, it's actually a blue bathing suit with a scarf over it. So, to make it look more regal and stuff. This is a scarf that I bought. Yeah,
Marjorie was saying, I was thinking that the whole time. It must be freezing up there in that wind chill. Yeah. So in Canada, like it would be like I don't know. I've gone sailing in April. It's nuts. Like it's just I was saying this like right now, for instance, we're not even getting double digits. We're in the single digits still up here, and it's April. And I went sailing. I used to go when I was younger. I used to go sailing in April on the ocean, and we'd be wearing parkas. Like it was so cold. So I can't even imagine if this is supposed to be winter. But anyway, I suppose we have to suspend our belief
in that case, because I'm here. It's April, and like earlier today, I went to the capital to like pick up some stuff, and like the sun was burning.
Yeah,
it was like burning me.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I don't. I mean, technically speaking, Dragonstone is probably like, I don't know. You guys can tell me better what the temperature is like there. Obviously,
it will be like
temperate.
Between me and you, she will be around Aaron in the United States, right there.
Dora, are you talking about Dany's cloak there? Or are you talking about Cersei's cloak? Sorry, dressing gown. You're saying. That's probably a dressing gown or something so she doesn't sit around completely naked. Are you guys talking about Cersei's dressing gown?
I think so.
Yeah, it's sort of a kimono. It's sort of a kimono shape to it.
That last season.
Yeah,
after we were banging Jamie.
Yeah, it's her post-coital robe.
Yeah, her good bang robe.
Yeah, she's been, I don't know if she wore it after what did she wear after Loras? Remember she was sleeping with Loras for a while there?
Loras? Are you sure it was Loras and not Lancel?
Lancel, sorry. My bad. Lancel. She was sleeping with, she's like, get in. she's like, get out of here or get in the bed or something. She'd always be like bossing him around.
Yeah.
And he had that really bad blonde wig. Do you remember?
Oh,
Some of the wigs.
That was bad.
I think they have to do.
That was Party City levels of bad.
We'll get in a lot of trouble, but we should do the top 10 worst wigs. We'll get in a lot of trouble. By the way, if anybody doesn't know, Lanceley, yes. If anybody doesn't know this, Lena Headey, she calls her wig the turnip. So
yeah,
I'm not, as many of you know, a big fan of it. It was funny because they were doing Entertainment Weekly was doing a name your favorite costumes, name your favorite. I was making a joke saying, I bet you, I don't know if you guys know which one would be my least favorite. I was thinking actually that would be fun to do, Tatiana. At the end of the season, we should do an awards show, like an awards for the costumes. You know what I mean? We could give them, like, we could do best couples costume. We could do best, like, for instance, I've had a few people who say that the best costumes are when John is lying naked on the table with the towel, and when the boys are all shaving. So we could do the best scantily clad, scantily clad costumes.
The best tastefully naked, the best tastefully naked person. Yeah,
well, she's been naked a few times, and Cersei. There's been a lot of nudity, and what did you think of?
Do you think there's been a lot of nudity in Game of Thrones? Really?
What's that? Oop, I don't have it on.
Do you really think there's been a lot of nudity in Game of Thrones? Like, really? I mean, maybe a smidge, but like a lot? Really?
Oh, I don't mean like an overuse of it. I just mean over the seasons, there would be a lot of nude bodies to choose from. That's what I'm saying. What?
I'm being sarcastic.
Oh, you're being sarcastic. I thought I was offending you. I was like, oh my God, Tatiana, I'm not trying to upset you here. Okay. Yeah, there's quite a bit of me. What did you think, by the way? Okay, speaking of like maybe some gratuitous nude scenes, what did you think of the scene last night with Bronn?
Well, I laughed. I just love the girls. Oh my God, the dragons! Oh my God, this! Oh my God, that! And they just like going to work as whores do.
Yeah.
It was actually more graphic than normal.
Yeah,
because,
it was funny.
Yeah, we see like people having sex, but they don't ride the person.
Yeah, there's this guy named The Dragon Demands. I had him on the show a couple of months, maybe like a month ago. He works for the Wikia. Like he writes, he's one of the admins there for Game of Thrones Wikia. And he's a really smart guy. He's got like he's just a fascinating character. Anyways, he has a channel called The Dragon Demands, and he's doing a series on David Benioff and how basically David Benioff loves brown women, and sort of a lot of the stuff that goes on in the show is sort of like to please him. Like some of the more sexual scenes are for his own use. And it's a really interesting analysis, but it was funny because years ago, I just was going to say that years ago on Saturday Night Live, they did this really funny episode where they had, I think it was actually Andy Sandberg was playing this sort of nerdy kid who was behind all the sex scenes in Game of Thrones. Like he was the one directing them. It was sort of just like a teenage fantasy of what sex scenes should be in a show. So whereas The Dragon Demands is sort of showing that it's really David Benioff who's kind of the pervert, and it's sort of like to please him. Because like last year when I saw the one with Miss Sandy and Grey Worm, I'm like, that wasn't really sexy to me, and neither was the one with John and Danny. Like I didn't find any of those scenes to be really. There was not really any chemistry. I didn't find them really to be particularly sexy. Whereas if you watch a show like Outlander, the sex scenes are really like sexy. You can tell there's a woman sort of perspective there. Guys, you can tell me if I'm wrong. Maybe you think they are. I'm just saying from a female's point of view, it's kind of like watching porn. Not that I watch porn. But it's kind of like porn. When you watch porn, it's definitely from a man's perspective. It's not from like you as... because the idea is that the guy can put himself in the position of the guy, so he can look like a troll. That's fine, but the woman has to be hot.
Oh,
Yeah.
30 Days says the audio is off.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh dear. I don't know. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Can you hear us?
Audio is off. GOT is useless from a female point of view. Yes. So the audio is 3 days.
Well, Asun, oh, it wasn't bad. It just lagged. Oh, it's fine.
Okay. Yeah. I am streaming through OBS, so I think I've noticed there's been a bit of a lag sometimes, guys. Sorry. So yeah. So anyway, I know. So like for instance, that scene last year with Danny, and it's like John wasn't touching her hair because I was like, oh, she's got all the braids. He's not allowed to touch her hair. But usually, like in a lot of these, usually the guy grabs the girl's hair. He didn't touch her at all. Did you notice that? He was just kind of like leaning in. So it's like the hair person was like, don't touch her hair.
Michelle Connor's like, you touch that hair and you die. You will go Jamie, and I will cut your hand off.
Well, it's a different department. It's Kevin Alexander does the wigs, and then
but like you touch that hair and you will lose that hand.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's my opinion as a middle-aged woman. I'm saying if you want to do a sex scene, maybe bring in a female consultant to show you what women think is hot. And so the Miss Andy thing was definitely not hot. Like she just kind of like stripped off her clothes. And she wasn't wearing anything underneath it, which I thought was weird. I'm like, so that seriously, you're just like, you've got like, she's like, I can see sort of Melisandre not wearing anything underneath it because that just seems like the thing Melisandre would do. But it did seem weird to me that Missandei just opens up her jacket and she doesn't even have like a little chemise or anything underneath her coat. That's it. She just got that thing on her bare skin. So, and then what's that?
Interesting. Some of the more popular porn movies were made by ladies. Actually, there was a thing about it on Netflix a while ago. Huh. I did not know that.
Some of the more popular horror movies?
Horror movies.
Oh, really? Oh, hey, Cindy's here. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Layla. Got some new people. Hi, the Star Spark. If I haven't said hi to you guys, I apologize. It just, Tatiana and I were having a sex talk. Well, I kind of do. Yeah, I sort of started it, and Aaron's not here, so it's not as fun. We miss Aaron terribly.
We'll get into it.
Yeah, the Star Spark. She says, I found the scene with Sam and Gilly weird. She was almost raped, and then was apparently in the mood. So weird and yuck. Yeah, I know. Like, yeah. Sorry, Sam.
There's a fact and this is not defending it. This is still effed up. But she did grow up being raped by her father.
Yeah. That's what I think she was just saying. Yeah.
This I actually think like the scene between Gilly and Sam, the sex scene between Gilly was actually good because I think this is like the first time she decides to have sexual congress. It was because of her. Nobody made her. Nobody tried to rape her. It's because she felt she trusted and loved Sam enough to give that part of herself.
And also, I mean, I was under the assumption that Tatiana, for some reason, I was under the assumption that Sam probably was a virgin as well, so he didn't know his way around anything, and so it was sort of the two of them were sort of learning with each other.
Yeah, they were in a sense finding sexual freedom with each other. Because Sam was a virgin, and she was. It was more like Gilly was finding her sexual independence in a sense by choosing to give herself to Sam.
Now, in these final minutes, what are you most looking forward to seeing in, there's only 5 episodes. It's just crazy. What are you most looking forward to seeing?
Well, I'm looking forward to the battle for the Dawn, the Battle for Winterfell in the 3rd season. I want more reunions, and I want more talks, and I want more Gendry and Arya because that was freaking adorable, and I want it.
Yeah.
I just want it. I just want it. And
what about costume-wise, though?
I want to know who the hell is gonna kill Cersei, because Cersei, hey, everybody and their grandmother wants to kill Cersei, and I want to see who lives and who dies. Who tells your story?
Yeah. Well, Sam, you think Sam probably will be the one telling the story?
Well, probably, if it lives.
Hopefully. But costume-wise, I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing Gilly's costume. You know, the one that we saw in the Entertainment Weekly cover. Yeah. I'm thinking of making that. I'm thinking of making Gilly's costume because she's kind of like the same size as me, and I thought, oh, I could, I think that's probably, we have a similar complexion. I thought that would probably be one.
It'll be good because Canadian winter is a thing.
Exactly. Yeah, but it's so beautiful, and I just love it. I just was like, so I'm really looking forward to seeing that. Are we maybe looking to see a wedding? Maybe there might be a wedding, maybe 2 weddings.
Yeah, because they're already talking about weddings, they could, I think, they could go. Like Sam and Danny could get married. It all depends on how they both react to the news of John's parentage of R plus L.
Mm-hmm.
I do think they're going to get married because honestly, John is probably going to have, because people are saying, oh, if John tells her about this, he's going to say, oh no, you're still the queen and you're still. And I still love you or whatever. Honestly, I think it's gonna be like halfway reverse, because it's like if he tells her, it's like, okay, we can still marry. I don't care. I'm a Targaryen. I'm used to this thing. If it wasn't because of Khal Drogo and his army, I would have married Viserys. But at the same time, John will have to like, no, you're still the queen. Don't freaking leave, please. And if they get married, it's like they could get married, but they're probably gonna die, because as we've seen, people who get married do not last very long.
Yeah, that's what the Star Spark is saying. So, so if they got married, what would you like to see them wearing?
Well, I already made my wedding design for them. So
yeah, you did. That's right. So
I want her to wear all red.
You wouldn't change it to have it be like with fur?
Maybe I'll maybe add like a beautiful sweeping white, cloak for Danny that has it looks a bit like ermine. It has the white and black flecks with maybe like red.
I was saying to somebody, I think it was the Dragon Demands, that there's no ermine in the show. I haven't seen any, but the Talissa, whatever her family is, the Florence, the makers, they have ermine in their sigil, but yet there has not been any ermine in the show. And I think we need, I was going to start a company called Everything Ermine. I made a joke about this years ago when I was working in theater. I had this idea to do a company called Everything Ermine, and have the song Ethel Merman, like everything's coming up roses, but it would be everything's coming up ermine.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be real ermine, because if anybody doesn't know what ermine is, it's a cute little weasel, right? And it's got it's all white, but it has a little black tail. So what they used to do is they take the ermine and the pelts, and then they would make these amazing robes or trim on robes, and only royalty would wear it. And then they take the tip of the tail, and that would be the little black fleck. So mine would just be faux fur. So it'd be like, throw pillows and throws and handbags, and everything would be ermine. And that was my original idea right out of college. But I should have done it. I think it would have been such a great idea. Damn it. Asen says, I think John still has problems with the fact he grew up as a Stark. Danny was expecting to marry Viserys before he sold her off to Khal Drogo. Yes, costume-wise, there isn't much hype except maybe to see Jaime in his final fight for the Dawn armor. Ooh, I would look forward to that. Yeah, because I was kind of looking forward to the Golden Company, and they don't look that golden. They kind of look kind of more brass. bronze, maybe. I was expecting these really beautiful, vivid cloaks. Like I've seen illustrations done like by fans, or maybe a Song of Ice and Fire people have done these illustrations of them. So I was expecting it to be like really, you know, so that was kind of to me like, And Lady Laura says, that's not going to happen in my opinion. I think John will feel funny about sleeping with his aunt, but does she get pregnant? Well, she could be pregnant already even, right? Maybe. Just takes one time.
They stated in the last episode of last season that, oh no, I can't have children. Which basically says, oh no, you're gonna have
children. Yeah. And it's funny because like there's always been situations like that. I know so many people in my life who have like haven't been able to have a baby, and then they go to adopt or something, and then as soon as they do that, then they get pregnant. Like just, you know, it happens, right? Where you think, I'm not able to have a baby. I know so many people that that's happened to. But anyways, in my mind, if there is a wedding, I'd love to see 1 or 2 weddings. That would just be great for me. Even if there's like, secret weddings.
If the unthinkable happens and we get a happy-ish ending, like time jump, Arya and Gendry's wedding.
Well, it could be that's what I'm saying. It could be an Arya Gendry. It could be a Gilly and Sam, because they're not actually wed, right? They're just kind of.
Oh, he's still technically part of the Night's Watch. So
I have a feeling it will be disbanded. Well, I think maybe eventually it'll be disbanded though.
Maybe he'll get a pardon. Maybe
he's asked for a pardon. He asked for a pardon for stealing the books. Why didn't he ask if he could be relieved from the Night's Watch?
And I don't think because he doesn't want to, because he does believe in the Night's Watch, but he also loves stealing.
Jose says he's looking forward to Cersei's studded red dress in action. So what do you think of that dress, that red velvet one? With the X.
There are things I love about it, and I don't like the X's.
Me neither.
The X's are just too weird. They're weird and they're unnecessary. It's gilding the lily, basically, because the most of the, if you like take the X out of it, it will look gorgeous. Like if you want studs, then they have like a panel full of studs. Don't put like X's. The X's don't do anything to the costume.
Well, Michelle said in an interview, let me just hear here, because we were talking about what does it say? There was a thing. Finally, any hidden clues or messages in the costumes this season we should look for. And Michelle Clapton says, always, but I can't say. So that's why, we were looking into the X, what that could be. Is there an indication? We're talking about the pendant. We talked about that as it's in front of her stomach, which is like, it could be a talisman. Maybe the X is some kind of symbolism. Michelle hasn't done too many. I have to read you this, guys, though. This is interesting because we had talked about the sort of I called it like a skeleton kind of X-ray thing on her gowns, and so she was talking about that last season about the dress that she wore at the Dragon Pit Summit. So this is a really great. This is the first time I've seen her talk about it. So she says, all the women in season 8 seem to have more strong looking shoulders, other symbols of power. I think, guys, this is from Glamour. You know what I'll do? I'll share these on my Twitter later if anybody wants to read these. So Michelle Clapton says, yes, the silhouette of the women is strong and their bodies are covered. It's partly due to the climate, but more than that, they are not using their sexuality to achieve or claim power. Unlike Marjorie, for instance, earlier in the show, we've moved beyond that. They all had a journey, some harder than others. They've all been abused or disrespected by men. So that's a very good point. Usually simply because they are women. They all want power, some at any cost, except maybe Arya, who wants freedom. Sorry. And then she says, I was trying to find the part. Oh, here it is. So in the final episode of season 7, as she meets Dany, the costume becomes more warlike with chainmail, and the silhouette changes with strong molded shoulders like an exoskeleton. There is also a slashed and twisted detail on the back of her coat. It feels lizard-like, cold-blooded. It creates an illusion that you can see into her soul, and it's dark. So it's kind of along the lines, yes, the alien dress. It's funny because she said exoskeleton, which is what the name of that that skeleton spine corset that Asen first showed to me that I have talked about. That's by Alexander McQueen, and with the tail, it's kind of like got a vestigial tail. And so, you know, I said definitely there's that alien influence. There's that Alexander McQueen influence, and she's also got these shoulder things that kind of look like. She calls them, it's sort of like an arthropod style shell kind of thing. It's very animal. He uses a lot of animals. Like Dany's collar, she said this way back in season 4, it's supposed to be like a cobra because people are like, what the hell is with that collar? It's supposed to be a cobra, apparently. And then or like the hood of a cobra snake, I should say. So she uses animals a lot. So that lizard, like, I mean, you had talked about when we were talking about the black blister dress, you were saying something to me about it. I'm trying to remember what you said. I call it the rotting from within, but what did you say to me about that? Do you remember?
If I can remember correctly, I said it was grayscale.
Grayscale.
That she had like grayscale, and the thing is about grayscale is it doesn't kill you, but it turns you mad.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that she has a grayscale dress, it's very evident that she is going mad. She's turning mad.
Yeah, and then we were talking about her dress, like, as you know, so that scale started sort of on the back, like just peeking out ever so slightly, but now it's almost like a full panel in the front. So it looks like you can, like she say, seeing into her soul. I was saying, like in my other video, that to me it kind of looked like the flesh was starting just sort of to rot away, and that you know, we're just starting to see the exposed skeleton. So it is like, so it's interesting with the grayscale, sort of like syphilis, I guess. So it affects you physically, but then it also affects your mind. Yeah.
It's because if you remember in season 5, when Jorah and Tyrion are traveling to see Dany, they pass through Old Valyria.
Yeah.
Which how the hell they survived that is a tale for another time because nobody knows. And they get attacked by stone men, and those are the men who have been ravaged by grayscale. That's why Jorah gets infected with grayscale that Sam later cures, because so they're still alive. They just have been ravaged physically and mentally by the illness.
Yeah, and Shireen, they found a treatment. They were able to stop his, whereas they just were able to stop it. Whereas Jorah, he was actually cured. Now I haven't seen him, what his body looks like. I'm assuming he would have scarring though, or something. I can't imagine that would be okay to have that scraped off of you, right? So awful. Yeah, guys. So everyone, so there's some really great comments. So we talked about this, the trilobite shoulder epaulette. So that's what they look like, trilobites. And there's a trilobite in one of the Alien Resurrection movies. I think I have a picture of it. It's really, really disturbing. Let's see if I can find it. I found this online on here, guys, I'll show it to you. Oh. Do you remember this, Tatiana? It's kind of like, it's from, it's from one of the aliens. So this is what this is the trilobite creature. So you can see it's got that sort of hard shell skeleton, but then they've kind of made it into a bit of an octopus. But I was looking at pictures of actual trilobites. They're pretty terrifying looking. They're a prehistoric creature. The Majora's the Giger dress, yes. So actually it was interesting in the costumes inspired by what's it called again? Mcqueen. Oh my God, I'm losing it. Sorry guys. Yeah. So in the costumes inspired by Alexander McQueen, Alexander McQueen was actually really, really fascinated with H.R. Giger, and he made these alien shoes. Did you see those pictures? They were crazy. So Yeah, and they have them at the V&A, and then they also have his. They did a big collection after he passed away. They did a big exhibit of all of his stuff, and so the V&A had it, and then it came to New York, and it was at the Met. So they have some of the stuff in their collection. So anyways, I just love that. I love that because I've always been a huge Giger fan and Alexander McQueen, obviously. So it was kind of cool just seeing that. So I wonder if we're going to see more of that. It'll be really interesting as time goes on. It's just like there's less and less, like you're less and less of the costume. It's just like more and more like you're actually peeking into her, like into her body kind of thing.
That's why I like the middle texture of her bodice. It looks like ribs. It looks like you can see the ribs.
Yeah, like so Alexander McQueen did this really great collection years ago where they look like x-rays, and he printed it on fabric. So Michelle, that technique she's using is actually fairly simple. Like they just do these slices. I put it on our group. Asen's seen it. So they basically just do these little slashes on the fabric, and then they twist it and then stitch it down. And then she puts another fabric underneath it. So it just gives this really interesting texture. I love it. And I'd seen some other designers doing it. So it's a really cool technique. And I think I really like it. I mean, my main issue with the dress last season is I thought that the overdress, I think Asen liked it a lot, but I just found it look very contemporary.
Modern.
And like modern. Yeah. I love it. Don't get me wrong. It just felt very, because I kind of like, I'm always like, okay, yeah, I know she's a mad queen, but I didn't want it to go into the realm of, what is it? The Colleen Atwood style of costuming. Because Michelle, one of the things I love the most about the design to begin with is that the costumes are really grounded and they're really clothes as opposed to being costumes, that Colleen Atwood fantastical once upon a time style evil queen with a giant collar, So that was my main issue with it. So it feels like it has been pulled back a bit, which I am kind of happy about that. I know that it's fantasy and you can kind of do what you want with fantasy, but she has created these rules. It is still in sort of a medieval feel type world. At least the North is for sure. Yeah. So yeah, I do feel it's been pulled back and I do appreciate that. And so I am looking forward to seeing what's going to happen, in the next, it's going to happen so fast. Like seriously, it's going to be over by May, and then we're done, and that's it. And then there might be a prequel. Asen says, yes, I made those for my former boss. Oh, what did she make?
I think it's the shoes, the Geiger shoes. I think. Probably. Maybe. Also, Asen says there are theories that the Night King was a Northerner or even a Stark. Actually, the Night King was a Lord Commander of Night's Watch. Yeah. Centuries ago. Yeah, he was a Lord Commander of the Night's Watch who fell in love with the White Walker.
So the epaulettes that she's wearing, that is definitely a Northern look, as Asen said. So Ned Stark has them, Tyrion had them, like everyone has them. So I'm like, you could say that. Bran had them, everyone's had Jorah, or not Jorah Mormont, the other guy, Cassell had them. So it's definitely a Northern look. So if anything, then you can glean that the Night King is a Northerner. That's what I would say, as opposed to it being the other way around, that they're copying him. So that's what I would say. Although it does seem strange that people would be wearing the same silhouettes for thousands of years. That seems sort of odd. And actually, Michelle did say, and this, I thought that this was a little bit of an odd thing for her to say, that the Night King and the White Walkers, their costumes are supposed to be based off of found objects. And I was just like, well, I don't know where you would find that stuff. That just isn't, like, scrap metal ships. I don't know. I don't know where you would find that stuff. Like, to be honest with you, again, if you go Northern Canada, you won't find anything like that. Like stuff like that you would maybe find washed up on the shore, perhaps. But so that was, I don't know. I'm not going to hold her to every little thing, though. Asen says, no, the spine thing on the blouse.
Was made for her boss.
Oh, you made that for your boss. Oh, can you take a picture and send it to me? I want to see it.
For her boss.
There is a theory that says his name was Jon Snow, and that's why Ygritte, and that's an evil name. And when Jon tell him his name, huh? Do you understand that? Guys, so we're gonna have to wrap up because honestly, this is terrible. My husband's not here. I have to feed the kids.
Oh.
But I just want to thank so much everyone for coming to our, it's kind of our, like we kind of had one already. This is sort of our first official Game of Queens episode. We're missing our third host, who hopefully we'll be able to have him join us in the near future. I mean, even after Game of Thrones, we'll probably do this for other shows, right, Tatiana, if you want to?
Yes, please.
Tatiana's going off to university though, so.
A fun time.
And so there's a few things. So one is I did a really great interview with the costume designer of The Chaperone, which is a new show that's going to be on the PBS, the BBC. So it's starring Elizabeth McGovern from Downton Abbey. So that was very cool. I got to interview her. So hopefully I'll have that out soon. And then also I'm working on a Jamie / Tywin Lannister video. So hopefully I have that out as well. And then my book is almost done. I know I've been saying this for ages. So my book is almost done. If anybody doesn't know, I'm doing an unofficial like Game of Thrones, costumes of Game of Thrones. It's an illustrated costume guide. And the costumes are all being done by my good friend Patrick. And it's going to have over 200 original costume illustrations in it. And it's going to be kind of like, it's going to be really great for, I think, cosplayers, that type of thing, because it's going to be a breakdown of each costume. I also have a lot of the fabrics suppliers and some of the jewelry designers who were involved in the show. And just sort of some of it is obviously my own, my own analysis.
30 Days says, your kids are old enough to feed themselves, lol.
Yeah, they're boys. Yeah. Well, I don't really like, I won't let Graydon, you know what he did the other day? He took a piece of pizza and it was on like a styrofoam plate and he put it in the toaster oven. Like he didn't,
God.
It melted. So I kind of just, I don't really trust them with ovens and stoves yet. Like Leland can use the microwave. He's okay using the microwave, but I'm not, I know it's terrible. Maybe I'm a bit of a helicopter parent, but I just don't want them burning down the house. Only caught the last little bit. Oh, thanks so much, Cindy, for coming. Everyone, thank you so much for coming. And 30 Days, thank you for being here. He's our mod.
Wait, thank you so much. It starts Park? Is it like 7 a.m. over there? Because they're from Australia.
Yeah, it's probably really early.
It's like, it has to be like 7 a.m. Like you woke up that early to listen to this? Wow.
Yeah. I know, because it's like we're 12 hours ahead then? Are we 12 hours behind or ahead?
We're 12 hours behind. They're behind. Right now, today's tomorrow for them. Yeah,
Tatiana is actually in Puerto Rico, and I'm in Canada. So we're pretty far apart from each other, but we're in the same time zone.
Yeah.
At least
we're in the same, thanks to daylight savings.
So thanks, everyone. Okay, well, have a great evening, and we'll be back next Wednesday. We're going to do 5 p.m. again, Tatiana, unless
so far, yeah.
Okay, unless something comes up. So 5 p.m. next week until like 7. We could go later. Oh, and I just got one more thing. I'm going to be on Marie's channel. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I don't have her channel link, but I'm going to be on her channel on Thursday, I think at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, but I'll share that out on social media so you guys will all know. That's going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to being on her channel. Okay. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, darling. Thank you for coming.